Hey, Zaka family! Zaka is launching an exclusive membership platform to provide you with career development workshops, coaching, community, and so much more. Go to ZakaConnect.com and sign up to receive information on how to access early registration and perks. Hello, everybody. This is Paul Herman, the Prince of Motivation and host of Zaka Presents My Journey. We're creating this vulnerable and positive platform where you can get inspired and motivated from different leaders from our community. Today, our guest is Jinia Williams, who is a licensed mental health counselor and certified life coach. Jinia, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on the platform, and I'm very thrilled to have you on today's show. And I really want to know a lot more about your journey, your career, and I know the listeners want to know about that as well too. But before we actually get into where you are currently right now, if you could, give us a little bit of a background, tell us a little bit more about your cultural background and like where you grew up.
Okay. I am a product of Haitian immigrants. My parents migrated from Haiti in the early 70s. My dad worked on a cruise ship. My mother came to the US by way of the Bahamas. I was born and raised in Miami, in the MIA, some says, in the county of Dade, but that's me.
Okay, come on now. Come on. Come on. So both of your parents of Haitian descent?
Both my parents are of Haitian descent, yes.
And you were born here or in Haiti?
I was born and raised in Miami.
Okay.
In Little Haiti, to be exact, yes.
Oh, come on, Little Haiti. You better throw that out there. That's a nice place right there. Now, what was the childhood like growing up? Like, what influenced you and inspired you to be the person that you are today?
I believe I had a normal or rather traditional childhood up until about the age of 15. And maybe we're going to talk about that a little bit later. I grew up in Little Haiti, like I just mentioned, as most Haitian kids around the 70s and early 80s. And I attended private school. However, for my high school years, I remember literally begging my parents to allow me to attend public school for high school because my best friend, she was going to public school. And I was like, oh, please, I want to go to public school. And she, was so happy when my mom and my dad agreed. I played for several sports teams. I played in middle school and high school, softball, volleyball, everything you can name it. I ran track. And I was also the captain of the flag line in high school. So I was pretty active.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And talk to us a little bit more about it. What was like the life growing up in Little Haiti? I know it is not Haiti itself, but it's a lot of the Haitian descent has migrated there. Tell the listeners a little bit more about it.
I think it's pretty much like most cultures, maybe, but back then. And so what I feel is that it was just different from now. Kids were outside playing. You look forward to coming home from school so you can hang out a little bit. Being around just a lot of Haitian, a few other cultures, maybe some African Americans, maybe some individuals from the Latin community. But for the most part, we all sort of lived like a big family. We knew not only the people that were living in the street that I lived on, which was 69th Street, but we knew people on 68th Street, on 71st Street. Most of us went to the same school. Though I went to a private school, there were some of us that went to the same private school. And when the summer came, all of us went to the same summer camp at Notre Dame Catholic Church. So we met up again. So a great experience.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, also, you mentioned a little bit earlier in our conversation about something happened at the age of 15. You brought that up, like in your childhood. What was that about?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you about it. It's pretty much, let's see how I can say it. Oh, maybe one of the challenges that I faced as a child in my childhood, and how did I handle it? And what that is that the biggest challenge that I faced in my childhood was teenage motherhood and single parenting. Right. And how I handled that is that I was grateful for the overwhelming, I'm a believer, so the overwhelming, reckless love of God, the forgiveness of my parents, and the love of the village. I honor them and credit them for who I am today. They believed in me. They pushed me so that I don't confuse a blessing for a curse. I can talk about my daughter forever, but I won't do that today. She turned out to be everything we planned and even more. So yes, I was a teenage mother. I was pregnant at 15.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And now your daughter's how old now?
She turned 31 yesterday on August 16th.
Ooh,
Yes.
come on. Happy birthday, girl.
Yes. Thank
Yes, yes. Well, congratulations and much love to you. I mean, that obviously must have been very hard juggling at a very young age. But like you said, you had the support of your family members. And you, like you said, your daughter's everything that you ever wanted.
you.
So
Right.
congratulations on, pushing and pursuing, at
Yes.
that point in time, because that's a very hard thing to do sometimes, to juggle something as big as a child when you're still a child yourself.
Right.
But you did a wonderful job with that. I know there was a lot of ups and downs, but you made it through. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Now, a question I want to ask you now, because I know it was in your title. Like, when did you know that you wanted to be in mental health?
Honestly, I would say it was during my first semester at Miami-Dade Community College. Now Miami-Dade College is what the school is. I took my first psychology course. My original major was physical therapy, but very soon into my college career, I realized that the hospital and nursing homes was not for me, and so I took a liking to the course, and then from there I started. I believe that I want to go this route, mental health route.
Mhm. And is there anyone in your family members that has pursued that career or in that industry currently?
No, no one at all. As a matter of fact, I'm first generation college graduate. So
Oh, congratulations! Come on, you better. Your daughter's second, right?
she's second. Yes.
Ooh, look at this family's got some blessings over here.
Yes, I received that.
Yeah, come on, come on. Dropping it, dropping it. That's a big thing. Now, college. Talk to us a little bit more about college. Like that, how was that lifestyle for you in college? Was it easy for you? Was it hard for you?
Um, it was a little challenging. Well, originally I didn't want to go away for college, but as you know, I was a mom, so those options. Well, I didn't have that option of going away for college because my daughter was my priority at that time. So did 2 years at Miami-Dade and then went to FIU. So I'm a local. I went to FIU too. Also, I got my AA in psychology, got my bachelor's in psychology, and then later on went and got my master's in clinical psychology. So it was challenging because I had to work, I had to take care of a child and keep it moving.
Mhm.
So yeah.
You had your hands full. That's what it was, and you definitely juggled it really well, right? Now, a question that I'm gonna ask, and now since we're talking about mental health, what advice would you give to like an immigrant who came to the U.S. but does not know how to treat their mental health? Because trauma is a very big thing in the community. So, what would you recommend?
Well, what I said is that adjusting to a new country can be really challenging, right? So building a support group, seeking information to help you, to direct you, to guide you, getting language assistance. There are opportunities to learn the language where you're at, finding mental health professionals who are culturally sensitive and familiar with the challenges that you're facing, just educating yourself, familiarizing yourself with the culture, the Western culture that you're here, at least for those that are here, being patient with yourself, right? I just came here, not being so hard on yourself. And remind that the seeking help for your mental health is a sign. Reminding yourself that it's a strength. It's coming from a strength based perspective, right? And so, me as a mental health professional, I can just encourage someone that's an immigrant that this is a strength to say that I need help, right? And so, I would suggest some of those things.
And it's hard sometimes to ask for help if you don't know where the help to get the help. But
Right.
there's a lot of services out there, a lot of organizations out there. Mental health has definitely become more of something more in the forefront.
Mhm.
Years ago, and I'm speaking on a previous guest that we had on the show. They had talked about like at one point, people were chiming away from the mental health thing. Like it was a weak thing to ask for
To
help
ask
or
for
even
help.
go to a therapist. But now it's becoming like a very common thing, and it's a big thing in here. There's a lot of things that do come through mental health that could affect someone's lifestyle and and their well-being. So I think that with all the things that's been occurring, shootings in schools and stuff like that, it became a little bit more of the forefront for a lot of us. Now, what inspired you to pursue like a career providing like quality service to individuals and families with like emotional, social, and like behavior concerns?
Often heard that just doing this work in this space it was really I had really had a genuine ability to do it, right? It just came natural to me. And so as I heard that often, I just said, okay, I'm gonna go continue to go with it. So yes, and when I started school, college, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go into psychology. But the more I did it, the more I did the work, I got so much positive feedback and validations that I continue to go with it. Now, working in this field for almost 2 decades, I'm clear on the benefits of mental health services and the positive impact it has on our lives. So, yeah, I'll
Mhm.
continue to stay on that track.
Mm. And I could only imagine like the the amount of individuals that you have to work with, the various different trauma and stuff that you have to deal with on an everyday basis. It could take a toll on you. What are some of the things that you do personally to kind of like separate yourself from the business, the job, and like family and things like that?
Things that I do, first of all, I too, I do go to therapy. And so I check in on myself. I go in once a month. I see my therapist just to make sure that I'm okay. Right. So that's one
Mhm.
thing I do. I practice a lot of self-care. We all define self-care differently, mental wealth being totally different. And so what's self-care to me may not be self-care to you. But I create that. I don't like to say like work-life balance because sometimes it may sound like work is a horrible place to be. My job, I love my job. One of my hashtags is my job is my hobby, but yet we still have to make a distinction, from work, have a cutoff time that, no more working right now. It's time for you to do something for yourself, or taking breaks in between, having a lunch break outside of the office, going for a walk, just
Mhm.
going on
Have
vacation.
Yeah, clear boundaries when it comes
Clear
to stuff like
boundaries.
that.
That's it. Yeah, clear
Yeah,
boundaries.
especially in your profession, I can only imagine. Now, could you tell us a little bit more about your journey of being like a licensed mental health counselor, but then becoming a certified life coach? Because we talked about, or I mentioned that as your title, you're a
Mhm.
life coach and a qualified supervisor. So, what does that transition look like?
Okay, I've known that I wanted to be a qualified supervisor years ago from just seeing how my own supervisor worked with me. And so every time I would meet with her, every week I would meet with her, I get this little voice in my head. You're like, girl, you can supervise. You can't have other therapists be the best they can be also. And so as soon as I got licensed, because you have to first be a licensed therapist before you can be a qualified supervisor with the state. The very first thing I did is I registered for a 12-hour course, which made me eligible to become a qualified supervisor. But even with that, you have to wait like about 3 years, I believe, to actually apply to be a qualified supervisor. So I just kept on working, leading in the field. And then that time came, and then I applied, and then that's it. I'm a qualified supervisor, which is a added in being for me in terms of the work that I do, being trained to with the right skills to supervise therapists, and then also you make more money too.
Oh, come on, we're not going to turn
so,
that. We're not going to turn that down. Come on now.
so now as a life coach, to me, life coach is a trendy field. People are getting into life coaching. I just wanted to really just I felt like I had the skills, and I've been coaching. My clients, because some of them come in not directly addressing, they may have issues with feelings and processing feelings, but sometimes it wasn't really about something negative that happened in their life or something unfortunate that happened in their lives. Maybe it was associated with bad time management skills or distress due to unattained work or personal goals, right? So I decided that I was going to educate myself on what it means to be a life coach. And so I took the course, and now along with the counseling, when I have a client that presents themselves, I can assess and say, okay, does this client really need counseling services, or does this client need coaching services to achieve their personal goals?
Mhm, mhm. And with over, you have how many years of experience doing this?
Um,
Both
I would
in
say
both fields.
I would say about 20 years doing direct services with
Okay.
counseling, mental social service counseling, and some coaching.
Mhm. Now, something you also talked about, in our earlier part of the conversation, you talked about your family members. They came here from Haiti. A lot of our older generation are not too, I want to say, in tune with like the mental health thing. You know,
Hmm.
it's back then it was the different practices, different mindsets back then. What, in your opinion, like what do you think is the best way to get our parents or older generations to take care of their mental health or support us on our own journey?
That requires sensitivity and understanding. Some transparency, sharing relatable stories, providing resources that just highlight benefits of mental well-being, meeting them where they are. I work a lot with the Haitian community, so meeting them where they are, having open, non-judgmental conversations. Just understanding them and understanding where they come from. Emphasizing that mental health is just as important as physical health. We talk about that all the time, and that's a slogan in the community: is that your mental health is just as important as your physical health. If you have a headache, do not go to the doctor and see your primary care physician. And so, if you're not feeling well emotionally, you should do the same as well.
Mhm.
And just working on reducing the stigma that's, specifically in the Haitian community, just reducing the stigma that someone is always crazy, that is going to counseling, seeing a mental health professional is crazy. And also leading by example. I mentioned earlier that I'll probably say it again, is that I too go to therapy, right? And so I lead by example because I really believe that the service is impactful and does make a positive change in someone's life.
Hmm. And like you said, you have several years, I mean, like 20
Right.
years of experience in social work and mental health counseling. Like, what do you think has been like one of your key milestones that shape your career path?
I'm not sure if I'm going to answer this right. Milestones that shaped my career path. What I would say is that when I myself was faced with various crises all at once, from divorce to loss of a job, being diagnosed with a chronic condition. So again, like I too see a mental health professional, and she helped me. She helped me process my feelings and ultimately create a new narrative, my new life story. And so I would say going to therapy, seeking the help that is needed so I can continue to thrive and move forward.
Mhm. And I'm assuming your life is, like you said, it's your job is your hobby. That's your slogan. Like, it's
Yes.
so rewarding every day to go to work.
Really, it is. I don't see it as I'm validating myself, but when you see the changes, maybe we'll talk about it later about like the Haitian community specifically, who, mental health is taboo. And then you're coming here fighting, like, tantruming that they don't want to do this. And why do they have to do this? And sometimes they're mandated. And then months later, they come around and calling and saying how much they appreciate you and how they do want to stay. They don't want to close. They don't want to cancel. They don't want to just get discharged. And so, really, really seeing the changes that we've made
Mhm.
by
Mhm.
sticking to advocating and raising awareness.
And sometimes we'll never know unless you go. Right.
Right.
You never know.
Right.
You never know. These people that are that we're sitting down with. These people are licensed, trained
Hmm.
in several different fields. So they're bringing a lot to the table, and I feel like there's a therapist out there for everybody. That's one thing that I know. Sometimes people say they're like, I just haven't found the right person for me, so they just give up automatically. They're like, oh, you know what? I tried once, I tried twice, it's done. But there's a therapist out there for somebody.
Exactly. There is. And you're right. Not every person is a good fit. Not every therapist is a good fit for you. But if you keep on trying, you will find that person. You just got to stick to it.
Mhm. And that's a very beautiful relationship when when you find that therapist that fits you well, that knows your needs and knows how to help work with you.
Most
Um,
definitely.
could you elaborate a little bit more on your specialization in working with individuals struggling with mental health disorders, and if anything, with individuals with like special needs as well too?
Mhm. I would say that my specialization is working with all things Haitian. right? I have a lot of experience working with all population, but it's my personal goal to really be well versed and be an expert in working with the Haitian community, specifically working with those with HIV/AIDS diagnosis and other chronic conditions. Those working with special needs and meaning with children that are diagnosed with autism or medically children that are have medical issues. I specialize in that as well. Victims of sexual abuse. And I'm trained in trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, and the bulk of the clients that we service here at the facility where I work, at the agency where I work, are children that are abused, and unfortunately, they're abused by someone that they know. So that's really uncomfortable sometimes. Dealing with migrants, their journey to the U.S. or their journey from Haiti to Latin America and then to the U.S., their life in Haiti, civil unrest in Haiti, dealing with kidnapping, dealing with poverty. And so we get an influx of those clients coming through this agency as well. And geriatrics, my newfound love since COVID is working with the geriatrics, because they are like not looked upon. They were abandoned. No one was calling them. And this opportunity just fell in my lap. And, even when I'm busy and I don't have the time for supportive counseling, they're reaching out to me because they know that I care and they just want to have a conversation. Because their phones don't ring, they just want to have a conversation. So I call the geriatrics my newfound love.
Okay, come on. You better drop that information right there. Now, the Haitian culture, you were talking about it. I know that it's your culture, it's your upbringing. How does your culture, being Haitian, help you in your field?
I am sure there's a considerable amount of Haitians or Creole speaking therapists out there, but those working primarily with the Haitian population is somewhat limited. Now, I wasn't born in Haiti, but definitely was raised in a Haitian household. So I often say I bleed red and blue. The Haitian, the colors of the Haitian flag.
Yeah, that's right. Haitian, the Haitian culture is strong.
Yes.
Y'all are so supportive. When I say y'all ride together, y'all ride together.
We have to. So over the years, through lived experiences and working with the Haitian community, I've been able to just keep adding techniques and strategies to my toolbox to better serve the Haitian community. I was a Haitian youth, and now I'm a Haitian mother and a Haitian adult. I understand our youth. I was there, and I know our parents, our adults. I'm here now. There's still lots of work to be done. For example, helping Haitian adults understand the benefits of talking to a mental health professional, but we are not where we started.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of growth in this field, yeah. I'm assuming.
Yes.
From the time you started off to where you are now.
There is growth. There's so much more that needs to be done. I mean, decreasing the stigma. The stigma is just so heavy. But by being able to provide families with resources, helping them to assimilate into this culture. And so it's not coercing, but just being able to say, hey, you can't, you don't have enough funding to file your taxes. We can do that here for you, right? Or, you need to speak to a lawyer. You don't have to pay to speak to a lawyer. So just by easing them and showing them that we have an array of resources for them, and then it makes it easier for them to say, okay, I'll sit and talk to her. And so as they sit and talk to me, they realize that, okay, this is what they call psychology. This is what they call mental health. And it's really not that bad to have someone that I can come into a safe space with and just talk to and be open with, and they're not judgmental or biased.
Mm-hmm. And it's important to have that safe space because, when you have that safe spaces, you're able to open up a little bit more and share. And that's how, a therapist is going to help. The more you open up, the more you share that information, right. Then they're able to be like, oh, you know what? Okay, this is what we should be doing. This is what I think you should be doing. They're able to help and step in. How do you stay neutral or professional, when it comes to clients that are dealing with like something that's heavy, like you mentioned before, like sexual abuse?
Maintaining a professional stance while supporting clients dealing with sexual abuse is really key. Like it's necessary, but balancing professionalism with empathy. It helps keep the client. Helps the client feel that they're being heard. All right, and so you have to actively be listening. Like I'm listening actively, not doing other things, just giving them that attention, showing them that you care and care about what they have to say. Not passing judgment. Not bringing our own issues and biases or anything into that space at that time. Again, expressing that empathy, respecting the boundaries, right? Allowing clients to share at their own pace, not forcing them, like, what about this? Or probing them to say stuff, but more like giving them that time to open up and share what they're comfortable and ready to share. Using respectful language and tones. A lot of times we have our view on certain things, and boy, it can come out in our tone, in our demeanor. And so we have to be careful with that. And remaining focused on the client's needs. Staying objective to the client's need. From a professional standpoint, my role is to support and guide. Not to get emotionally involved. Sometimes that's hard because, we too been through certain things, just as community statistics says that I believe 1 in 4 women have been sexually assaulted. And so when you are in that space and you're dealing with clients who, if you've been through that path, then it kind of does something to you also. And so just staying focused and not trying to bring your emotions in. And that's why it is so important that therapists, we'll probably talk about what I do on the side as my business, that therapists too seek professional counseling.
Mm-hmm. It is heavy. It is heavy. You go home, you got a family, you obviously, whether people are going, have other hobbies or other things after work, is a very hard thing to kind of just making sure that you clear separation so that you're able to focus on what you need to focus on. And just staying neutral. And I like how you mentioned about, you're there to help, you're not putting the emotions behind it, when you're sitting down with that individual. How do you incorporate like a client's like spiritual beliefs, when it comes to like treatment approach?
That's like really important to me because, again, this space needs to be safe. So my personal background, yes, I bring it in, but then again, I have to make sure that I don't put it on anyone else. And so focusing on the whole person, they're mentally focusing on them mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, socially, not just focusing on a diagnosis or this problem that this person had. And so meeting them where they're at. Open dialogue, asking them, what's your spiritual beliefs? And seeing how does it influence their well-being, respecting their spiritual beliefs, their practices, their values, showing a genuine interest and respect. When someone come into my office and tell me that, let's say they practice voodoo, of course I know enough about it because I want to be culturally sensitive and culturally competent and culturally humble. But I ask them, well, what does that mean? Explain to me more. Explain to me the rituals and how does it work? Right? If someone comes to me and express their gender identity, I have them educate me more on those things. And so just having that space so they can open up, helping them to set treatment goals that align with their spiritual values for personal growth, and exploring ways to integrate their spiritual practices into their coping strategies, whether it be meditating, prayers, and again, like I mentioned, certain rituals, right?
I like how you give them an opportunity to speak up and give their thought process on what, giving you, educating you. I know they're coming to you to get educated, but you're like, turning the tables and saying, look, before I give you or help you in any way, like I want you to educate me on this. And I think that's a very because there's so many different religions, so many different beliefs.
Right.
It's sometimes people get don't really think too much about it, but there's so many different beliefs, and obviously certain beliefs have different requirements
And
that might
value systems
yeah.
and
So it might shut that down. And like, some people might be like, well, you can't take medication, you can't.
right.
And you're like, well, I think this is going to help you out with the ADHD. And you're like, but then they're like, well, we can't take medication. And then you're like, okay,
Right.
so now you're kind of stuck a little bit, but then you have to find another approach. But from your school and from all the
Yeah.
contacts and things that you have, you're able to make those decisions.
Right. And then gender roles. Sometimes you might have a family that the father or the male is the head of the house or the spiritual leader, or the pastor, the priest. And so they come in and be part of this family unit. One thing I would add is that sometimes if their spiritual beliefs are what is causing the distress, right? Because sometimes people,
Mm-hmm.
have people that come
Mm-hmm.
in here and the mother is like, I want her to go to church. She needs to go to church. And then I stopped the mother for a minute and I was like, well, do you like church? Do you want to go to church? And so they have this conversation. And so sometimes it's the spiritual beliefs, the values that are causing the stress. And so I help them to explore ways to reconcile any of these conflicts. The goal is to empower the client by incorporating their spiritual beliefs. But if mom and child is not on the same page, then there's a problem, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
we have to
Mm-hmm.
try to
Mm-hmm.
resolve those conflicts too.
I could only imagine that when and you're like, oh, it's the mom and it's the child,
Mhm.
right? You're like, it's not like you're taking sides, but you have to find a happy medium
Right.
at that point in time. You gotta be like, okay, like you said, do you like going to church? That's a good question right there. My daughter needs to go to church. Do you like going to church? And then
Right.
that opens up a whole new conversation.
And probably I lose a job too. I lose a client. I'll probably lose a client for not being team
Like,
parent.
this is not about me. This is about my daughter. But good question. Good question. Now, could you provide us some insight on like into your private business? I know you have your business, the Alpha Wellness approach. Like, how do you help therapists maximize their potential?
The alpha wellness approach. And so my hashtag for the business is therapist for the therapist or therapy for therapists because my focus is really to provide services for everyone in this field, from registered interns to counseling students, licensed professional counselor. And so we understand firsthand the pressure that therapists carry in their hearts and their minds. We have a deep understanding of the challenges, that's unique to therapists. So our goal is to provide support to the very individuals responsible for supporting others, right? So
Mm-hmm.
issues stress related to documentation deadlines, secondary trauma, sometimes we call it vicarious trauma, difficult staff, unmotivated clients, life challenges, dealing with emotions, relationship problems, financial issues, burnout prevention strategies, self-care techniques, prioritizing their well-being while continuing to provide quality care, right? Quality care for their clients. And so those things are really key. There's this again, I mentioned like practicing what you preach. I'll say it again that I'm going to therapy because I want to not only show that I believe in the word, but it does help me. It does help
Mm-hmm.
me. So yeah.
Okay. Now, being at the level where you are, I know that you're constantly studying, you're constantly in the field working. I know that you're a part of various different boards or associations, affiliations. Could you speak a little bit more about these affiliations and like the contribution it's had on your growth?
It's funny that you asked that question because as if I don't about constantly mentioning about me constantly studying is that I just 2 weeks ago I got accepted to the PhD program at Barry, so I'll be starting my PhD in
Mm,
counseling education.
mm,
I don't know what I was thinking, but I'm going to do
mm.
it, right?
You good? Because you look at the age of 15, you've been juggling, right? You
Right.
you got this. You got this. You got this.
I'm starting to
Congratulations.
thank you, thank you. My mind tells me that I would rather try and not succeed than to not try at all. And so I'll regret, let me regret that I didn't, that I didn't, how do you say it? I would rather regret. Well, I would rather try and not make it than to regret never trying at all. I think that sounds
Hmm.
better, right?
Yeah, yeah, no,
And
no, no, you're
so,
right. You're
but
right.
I'm on it. I'm going to make sure that I start. I will finish. But to your question about the professional organizations, is that I always want to be part of anything mental health. right? Especially when it comes to the Haitian community. And so one of the boards of Rebati Santé Mentale, which is rebuilding mental health, its overall goal is to promote the mental health of Haitians in Haiti and in the diaspora. And so I have the opportunities of traveling to Haiti and doing some of this work in Haiti as well. And so it's really important to me to really be active in that organization. As it relates to NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness, the Miami-Dade County's Black Community Initiative Advisory Board. I ensure that the Haitian culture is considered when making decisions to providing mental health services. And so we need to be in the space. We need to be there to make decisions about what's going on with us and how we want to use various measures, assessments, treatment, whatever for the Haitian community. And so someone has to be present to be that voice for the Haitian community. Now, as I mentioned before, I didn't really know about mental health until I started college or how mental health worked, but I know firsthand that these services are needed for our young girls. And so the two girl mentoring programs that I mainly contribute my time to is one, the Beautiful Beauties of Tomorrow, which is primarily servicing girls in the Miami-Dade County area, and the Little Miss Proverbs 31, and they provide services primarily in the Broward County area. And so not just being a board member, but devoting my time to being with the girls and also, money. So just being there for the girls and having lived experience of growing up in South Florida, I can bring me into the space.
Okay. Okay. Wow. And something that I know that with mental health, which was on a previous show that we were, when I was talking to a guest, we talked about COVID, right? COVID was a time frame. And I know there's a lot of these associations and organizations that you're a part of definitely dived in and try to help out during that time and still is helping currently today, right? So like we talking about 3 years of dealing with COVID, right? And I just want to know, like, from your opinion, like what would how has COVID impacted us and what could we do to improve when it comes down to like, in that area of like, for example, like social distancing for 3 years, like not being able to have that human contact. Some of our kids that are in school were heavily affected by that. What is your thoughts on that?
Right. Yes, I totally agree. Those 3 years have had significant impact on individuals and in our community at large. On one hand, it increased the availability of seeking mental health services. Seems like more the funding is out there for therapists, more people are going into the field of mental health. However, on the other hand, COVID increased mental health challenges, right? Increased feeling of isolation, loneliness, anxiety, disruptive social interaction, like you mentioned, and just a host of everything. If we would talk about, employment and academic performance, that's just a whole different, conversation in itself. If we're just going to talk about COVID, but mentally speaking, again, like I said, feelings of isolation, loneliness, anxiety, depression, social interaction, all that was out the door.
It is that was definitely a very hard time. And I know a lot, even myself in the entertainment business, some of our, when I visit like schools to talk to like some of the students, a lot of the principals, pull me to the side and say, our kids are having a very hard time after COVID. And it's very hard to hear that. I'm thinking like, these kids are in kindergarten, they're in 5th grade, they're in 6th grade, they're very young kids. And it's hard for them to transition back to this what we were saying at the time was normal. And it's an ongoing process. And obviously I appreciate individuals like yourself that are in the field, not only being good in your profession, but helping other people, other therapists improve their talents and gifts in order to help out a larger group of people.
Yes, definitely.
How could you in your opinion, like how can we do better as people, a better job in our community to promote like better mental and like emotional health?
Are you are you asking as it relates to COVID or
Oh no, just
just
in general.
general?
In
In
general, like
general.
what could we do? Like, I mean, and I'm talking even for myself as well too. Like, what could individuals on the sideline that are watching that, I go to therapists myself as well too. Like, what could we do besides just going to therapy to kind of help with this whole process and making it become a more common denominator and not the minority in a sense?
Okay. I would say taking a collaborative this is going to take a collaborative effort. We have to come together by raising awareness through educational programs, the media, social media, like you said, going, you went into the schools and doing your part, reducing stigma around mental health. Man, if you listen to the statistics about Black brothers committing suicide, just the rate of people doing certain things as it relates to mental health challenges. And so if we don't come together to raise awareness, make the safe space, make it comfortable, normalize mental health, it's going to continue to be a problem. So coming together, reducing stigma, normalizing mental health, supporting one another can contribute to a healthy community environment, creating a safe space for open conversation, and of course, providing resources for seeking health. Just there's resources out there. I'm in the field and I'm always like learning new things and what's out there. Oh, I didn't know they have this specific for this community or this population or this gender or this age group. And so just, find out what's out there or just seek out the resources that are available to us.
And there's so many different types of websites, books,
Mhm.
so many different publications, for
Yes.
these kind of stuff. And because we're in a generation where social media is very big, there is good information out there on mental health, but there's also bad information as well too. So people just have to be a little bit more mindful and have someone possibly coach them through on that information versus
Yes.
just, going on YouTube and hearing Joe Schmo over here talking about mental health and what you could do. So
Right.
I'm glad that you're in the profession because I know you know what you're doing. you know,
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Shout out to you, and congratulations again on being accepted into that PhD program. That's a very big thing, and like you
Thank
said,
you.
you are first generation graduate, but
Yes.
you now looking at being a first generation PhD graduate. So,
Well, I guess. Well, my daughter is a lawyer, so
oh, come on, sister!
I don't think I
Wow,
can. We'll see.
I think
she's
y'all in competition right now.
she's Juris Doctorate, so
Ooh, I see. There's a little competition going on right now.
yes.
I'm hearing it right now. So, sis, if you're hearing, let's know that mommy is still in the lead. Okay, I'm gonna let you know, mommy is still in the lead. She's doing her thing. She was quiet for a couple years, but she's coming back. She's coming back.
Amen.
Keep doing your thing. Keep doing your thing. Any last words for the listeners?
Well, what I can say is that life can be hard. It can be challenging for us all, right? There are lots of people and professionals out there that are trained to help you deal with various issues. Please talk to someone that can help. Again, I keep on saying it that I do see a therapist to check in, despite it all. And comes from someone that has had multiple lived experiences of trauma, setbacks, disappointments. I mean, the list goes on and on. But I truly, these are my last words to you guys, is that I truly believe that happiness is a choice. And every day when I wake up, I choose to be happy. I choose, like, I'm going to be happy. I do my affirmations and I think I choose to be happy. I'm going to choose to be happy today. And so I don't think about one mishap for the day as like, oh, I had a bad day. No, it was a bad moment, a bad situation, a bad conversation. So I choose to be happy. And so let us all seek the help because it's out there.
It is important to stay happy. It's
Yes.
important to make that choice. I like how you said that because you have a choice every morning. You could wake up sad, you could wake up angry, you could wake up depressed, you could wake up, annoyed, frustrated, but you choose to be happy. And because you're in a profession that you do love, some people are waking up to jobs that they're like, oh my gosh, I gotta wake up.
Hmm.
You're waking up saying, I'm ready to help. I'm
Yes.
ready to help. And I think when you're in a position to help, you know, and to help the people that you could help, it makes a difference in regards to the way you wake up. Because I
Yes.
never feel like that, when I'm waking up, like, oh my gosh, I got to do this. It's like, I'm ready.
Right.
And
You're just excited to do it.
yeah, who could I help today? Who am I going to help put a smile on their face?
Right.
And, something as small as a conversation, could really, really make a difference in someone's life. So I greatly appreciate, you being in the profession that you're in. I'm glad that you have found your purpose, and I'm glad that you've, stuck through it. I mean, you had a very, a life at a young age. You realized when you got into college that this is what you want to do, and you actually like followed through. And not only did you follow through, you're in a place in your life right now where you're helping other people follow through. So you're not just you just didn't pass through this threshold by yourself. You're like, I went through, but I'm bringing other people with me. I'm bringing my community, and you're definitely bringing that Haitian flag with you as well too.
That's right.
Shout out to Haiti and everyone out there. Again, thank you so much to just being on the show and just being present, sharing your story, the goods, the bads. I mean, just opening up and it's kind of giving us a really good insight on what our listeners should be doing when it comes to mental health. And I want to let the listeners know if you want to hear more inspirational stories like Jinia's, please check us out on ZakaConnect.com and follow our social at Zaka Connect and follow our feed, Zaka, wherever you listen to your podcasts.